All right, Director Watson, how goes?
Good afternoon, Trustee Rogers. Good afternoon, Floresto.
Good afternoon.
Looks like we got, how many people do we have on here today?
Presto, can you hear me? It's Jeff.
Yes, I can. Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you,
Okay.
Jeff.
It's got 14 people on. Okay, I didn't realize that. So good afternoon, everybody.
Let me see who from the board. Let me see who we're missing. Let me see Sandra and
I'm here.
are you there, Sandra?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Sandra's iPad. There you are.
Yeah,
And then Kelly's Kelly on.
Yeah. I wasn't sure I could even get on with my iPad because I lost my computer. It got corrupted this weekend. So this is a new experience doing it this way.
Then I see Nathaniel's on.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not part of the committee, but I'm here. Felipe Ortiz.
All right, got you, Felipe. I said hello back to you, but I didn't know if you heard me or not, or if you responded was on mute.
No, sorry, the connection because of the wind got lost. I had to redial in. Thank you.
Okay. And then Jerry, if you could confirm something for me, do we need to read all of the public comment narrative for the minutes or for the meeting?
Well, not unless they ask it to be read. If it has to be attached. Did people submit stuff to you?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just referring to just, all the instructions about, public comment has to be 500 words in length.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
UNLV celebrating the win from last night.
It's been a lot of, people walking around with their chest out this week. I think it's been since 2018 since we beat Reno.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's been a drought, but hopefully that's a sign of, more positive wins to come for the year.
True. With 9 new players, go figure.
Yeah, I haven't made it to I was at I think the earlier game, UNLV versus UCLA, but I haven't been back to a game since, but I'm gonna try to see if I can get it on my schedule.
I've been to a couple. There's room.
Yeah, it was probably about 15-20% occupancy when I was there.
Yeah, it's been running like 4,000, maybe 5,000.
Okay, well, I am showing that we are at 4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started to preserve everyone's time. So we'll just do a quick roll call. The official committee members will be Dr. Rogers, myself, who's present. And then we have Kelly Benavides. Is Kelly present? Sandra's present.
I'm here.
Nathaniel's present.
Here I am.
And then I see Brian's on with us, present. And then Trustee Ortiz is also joining us.
Here,
Chair Rogers, you do have a quorum, and I see Trustee Melendez is also here.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have any public comment?
There's no public comment.
All right, great. All right, everyone should have received the agenda in diligent. Do we have a motion from one of the committee members to accept the agenda as proposed?
So
I'll
moved.
move to, I'll second.
Okay, so I see Trustee Wah made the motion and seconded by Trustee Rainmaker. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, motion carries. The agenda is adopted. So we'll go to new business. And then this is a discussion and possible committee action regarding selection of an auditing firm for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. And we'll turn it over to Floresto to walk us through that update and recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Chair Rogers. The NRS requires the board to select its auditor for fiscal year 2022 by the end of March 22. Financial Services requested proposals from audit firms to audit the district's financial statements for 2022. And we wanted to bring this item to the Finance and Audit Committee early to allow extra time to make a decision if needed. The RFP was advertised and posted to the usual places, the Review Journal, the district's website, sent to all minority chambers of commerce, and also posted on MGEM, the state's e-marketplace. Only one audit firm responded, Hinton Burdick. Before I summarize the firm's qualifications, I wanted to highlight the reasons other firms didn't bid. And those reasons were primarily staffing capacity and audit timing, meaning these firms will be serving several clients during the same time period and didn't have the staff to perform our audit efficiently. I understood this even more after speaking with BDO, our prior year auditor. And along with the challenges I just mentioned, BDO indicated they would have proposed a fee that was 2 to 3 times higher than the prior year fee. Knowing that would be unpalatable to the district, BDO decided not to bid. And to add a little more context to this, the district's original auditor was Piercy Bowler Taylor and Kern, who merged with BDO in 2020. Piercy Bowler prioritized the district's audit because of our longstanding relationship. Piercy even held fees flat during economic downturns, including the pandemic over the last couple of years. BDO is a much larger firm with different priorities. So in order to allocate limited resources to the district's audit would require higher fees, which I understand. But fortunately, the one bid we received comes from a qualified firm with strong credentials. Hinton Burdick not only has local government audit experience in Nevada, they have direct experience with the library industry and audited libraries similar to the district, including the Henderson District Public Libraries. The district is larger than the Henderson District, but the familiarity the firm gained by understanding library operations with an independent district like ours is valuable. BDO did do an exceptional job last year, but we didn't have the same continuity we had in the past because of the firm's staff turnover. So we did spend extra time acclimating BDO to our industry. Hinton Burdick would not have the same learning curve. And either way, Financial Services is prepared to work with a new auditor and complete the district's audit efficiently. The other audit metrics are in line with our expectations, from the number of audit staff to the number of audit hours. These hours proposed to the district are comparable to what we've seen in prior years. And going back to fees, Hinton Burdick is able to match prior fees with an increase for inflation because of their experience with organizations similar to the district. So their proposal appears reasonable, including the fee that they're requesting. And this type of professional service isn't determined solely by fees, but combining a qualified firm with these audit prices, I would likely be recommending Hinton Burdick, even with additional bidders. So with that, staff is asking the Finance and Audit Committee to recommend to the Board of Trustees selecting Hinton Burdick as the district's auditor for fiscal year 2022. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
You know, I've worked with Hinton Burdick before, and I think they're great and could do a great job for us.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Trustee Raymaker.
Trustee Watt, do you have any questions?
No, I just noticed they were a mesquite firm, so I imagined Trustee Raymaker would be quite pleased.
Yeah, the only thing that I guess I was sort of nosy a little bit, I just went and looked at the ownership list, and I'm assuming there are no conflicts there, but I did notice that the ownership percentages exceed 100%. I didn't know if that was normal.
I would expect that to add up to 100% too. I'm not sure exactly why they exceed 100%. It could be some sort of rounding error, but I could follow up with that if the committee requests it.
No, that's not necessary. I was
Okay.
just curious when I looked at it, that I just saw the numbers like, oh, it doesn't add up. When I looked at it at first glance. Any other trustees who are on the call? Do you have any questions? Chair Wilson, Trustee Ortiz, or Trustee Melendres?
No, none at all. Felipe
No,
Ortiz.
thank you.
None for my part.
Mr.
All
Chair,
right. Yes,
I'll go ahead and make a motion if you're ready.
roger that.
I move to recommend to the Board of Trustees to authorize the Executive Director to execute a contract with Hinton Burdick for auditing services in accordance with RFP number 22-04 for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022, for an amount not to exceed $57,200, with options to extend the contract for 4 additional consecutive fiscal years, subject to final review of contract by council.
I'll second.
All right, motion, and we have a second. We'll go ahead and call for the question if there are no further comments. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we'll go to our second agenda item under new business, which is an update on the district's financials and update on projections. And we'll turn it over again to Foresto.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Chair. And everyone's able to see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. 1 second to run this here. All right, so this financial update will focus on the general fund, but I will finish with a review of the capital projects fund. And I will start with the consolidated sales tax revenues from July to October. And as you can see, so far this fiscal year, 2022, the CTX is performing pretty well. We actually received the November CTX earlier this week on January 31st. As always, there's a 2-month lag from the revenues we collect in November and when the state distributes it to the district in January. And with these numbers, they are significant increases so far this fiscal year. And at $24 million in 2021, the track that we're on in fiscal year 2022 is set to be a record high for the district. And the 24 million we collected last year was already the highest that we've recorded. And just for this committee's information, the November CTX we received was 29% higher than the same month last year. And the district is averaging 27% in higher collections all the way through the November CTX. And even if the months of December and January have been adversely impacted by the recent COVID surge, we do expect the rest of the fiscal year to recover and to, again, probably reach a record high by the end of fiscal year 2022.
Floresta, could you just confirm again what the FY21 actual was, and then how much above that we're trending for FY22?
The total number for 2021 was approximately $24 million, 24.2. I think that's pretty close. And we're trending for the current fiscal year at the current pace. We are on track to collect around $30 million. In my latest financial services report, I put in a range of about $27.5 million on the high end. But again, if these 20+% increases continue, we could collect as much as $30 million by the end of this fiscal year. And that would be $6 million higher than what we collected in 2021 and much higher than the conservative number we budgeted for 2022. We went with the state's number there, which is about $23 million.
Thank you for that.
All right. For property taxes collected so far this fiscal year, there aren't any surprises. Throughout the pandemic, the question has always been whether taxpayers will be able to pay their property taxes. And the answer so far is yes. And in 2023, we're actually expecting another increase from the current fiscal year. And I'll provide more information related to these revenues in the presentation on the tentative budget report, which we'll present to this committee in April. And while I have the committee here, I'll point out that Lynn Wing will be reaching out to all of you to schedule that Finance and Audit Committee meeting. The regular board meeting is actually taking place on April 21st, but the tentative budget is due to the state of Nevada by April 15th. So we would like to schedule the committee to meet early the week of April 11th to make sure we submit those budgets timely.
And then Floresta, similarly, could you share what the actual was for the property tax and what we're trending to hit for this year?
This chart is actually pretty accurate. It shows the actual for fiscal year 21 at about 31.6 million. And the budget is 34.5 million in 2022. And we usually reach at least that number. Sometimes it's slightly higher based on new sales and updated assessed valuations throughout the year. But we expect to receive the full budgeted $34.5 million in 2022. And as I mentioned, in 2023, I expect that number to be higher. And we will get those numbers soon from the assessor's office. And again, I'll be presenting that in April for this committee. We can't control the direction that the revenues turn in, but we can use the expenditures to either mitigate any negative economic conditions or to take advantage of any positive economic conditions. And this may look familiar to the committee. The fiscal year 2021 expenditures is actually higher than the year before because of the VEST payments. And the 2022 expenditures so far is lower because of our continued effort to maintain costs. And the VEST program is still paying dividends in the form of lower personnel costs. I'd like to give the committee a summary of the capital projects fund just to show where the general fund transfers are going. And as you can see, in the first column, the fund balances for the end of 2021 for all the programs, or and at least the major programs, the technology replacements and building repair and maintenance programs are relatively low. At $3 million for each of those programs, that's enough to cover 1 to 2 years of projects and expenditures for those two funds. And that's if we're tightening our belts. So fortunately, we've recovered for the most part from the potential economic downturn we were expecting and budgeted $19 million in the current fiscal year to be allocated to these different programs. And the priority was to establish or reestablish the multi-year reserves in these two critical programs, which we've done. And you can see that the $9 million transferred to the capital construction program leaves us with $8.5 million at the end of this fiscal year, 2022. But we are likely to match the $19 million in fiscal year 2023. So we will be planning for a $19 million or higher transfer in the upcoming fiscal year. And the majority, if not all of that, would be earmarked for capital construction. So you can see that at 8.5 million plus another $20 million, we're at $28 million allocated for capital construction. Not to mention other efforts the district is making to raise funds for future projects, especially the historic West Side project that we're currently working on. And other examples of sources I note here, from the New Markets Tax Credit Program to the sale of the previous library location and other funding efforts. And so It's nice to be able to continue providing this committee with positive news, and I can answer any other questions you have.
And I'll open up to the committee members and as well as the other board members who are on the call to see if you had any questions.
No questions, but it looks like it's going to be a better year, and I'm really pleased to see that. So thank you for all the information.
Mr. Chairman,
I
go ahead, Mr. Wall, you're on.
just wanted to say great work.
Okay, I think Trustee Melendrez made a comment. So was that it, Jose, for you?
Yeah, I just want to say great work, Flora. Still, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Sorry,
All right,
my
now-
dogs are going.
All right, and I think Trustee Ortiz had a question or a comment.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Just a comment, just to put it on the record. My wife calls me El Cheapo or Cheapskate. And the reason she does is because as a matter of public record, although it looks like we're getting more than we normally get in our combined tax income, the C-tax, what we really need to do is put that into context. And I just wanted to make a comment. Number one, the price of goods are going up by 20%. The price of doing business, interest rates going up, everything is going to go up. So everything is relative. Although it may look like we may have a lot of money left over, it's going to cost us a lot more money to buy items, to build items. And so I just want the record to reflect that it's not that we came into more money, it's just going to cost us more to do things. And we are, if I can use a religious term, blessed that we have the money coming in right now. So that's the only comment. I'll be making that comment again in that, so that other public people don't see that we are flush with money. Everything's going up. The cost of business is going up. So we're sitting good. Thank you, Floresto, for the presentation. And Dr. Rogers, thank you for allowing me to make that comment.
All right, well, thank you for providing that additional context. Any other remarks or comments or questions?
Well, I just want to agree with him. I mean, we need to continue to be conservative. And fortunately, the library has been doing that more. And I think the realization, like you said, things are going up and things are costing more. It's great that we're going to get more, but it's probably going to cost us more. So we need to be conservative, but be blessed, like he said, that we are getting more. It looks like we're getting more and we can do the job we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with both comments. And I think from looking at the the budget projections, seeing that we're making more investments back into multi-year budget categories, I think it's a positive sign that things are improving. We still have a ways to go. We know that there's a lot in front of us, in particular on the capital project side. So I'm looking forward to hearing more future positive news from Floresto and team, and then also from Director Watson. All right, so that was not an item for any action. That was just for discussion only. And we're certainly looking forward to sharing the full news with the board in our next board meeting. And then we will go to our next agenda item, which is public comment. And I'll defer to Lynn to see if there were any comments submitted.
There were no comments submitted.
All right, that I think conducts or concludes our official business. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion
Aye.
carries. We are officially adjourned. We'll see everyone officially in this context in April for our next meeting. Thank you all for all the hard work and preparing all the invites and the reports. Everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
You too.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.